Ready? Okay, I'd like to call our Finance and Audit meeting for January 9th to order at 8:30 a.m. We are missing Ms. Greeno and Mr. Hendricks, and I'll entertain a motion to allow Mr. Brian Sager to call in. Carolyn moves, Larry seconds. Any discussion? Okay, if not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, welcome, Brian.
Thank you.
We have minutes for approval. I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
So moved.
John and Larry, any questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Public comments.
Public comment, last call?
We have COVID seating today, so make sure you spread yourselves out. Member comments? None? Okay. Hey, Brian, you're just gonna have to speak up because I can't keep on looking at the screen. So if there's something you want, just speak up, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're on to routine consent agenda, items that members would like removed. I need to remove item 7.3. John?
7.5 and 7.14.
5 and 14. Any others by members?
I don't want to remove anything, but I would like to comment quickly about 7.4.
7 what?
7.4.
Okay, what's your comment?
I would encourage and appreciate staff would just go ahead and copy these documents and have a hard copy in front of everyone at our places. I think this needs to be added kind of, not necessarily to our board rules, but as a supplement for everybody to have, because I think this is an incredibly important document, and I just want to make sure that everybody has it in front of them so that they can easily read it.
Okay, thanks, Brian. Carolyn, what were you going to say?
Well, I'm not sure it's well, okay, I just want to talk about the resolutions for Valley High, just because, again, some of them don't have numbers, and I'm not sure it's necessary. I just...
So which, you got 22?
I think it says 22, 23, 24, or the ones at the end that didn't really have numbers associated with it. And I think it's largely because it's just...
Well, 23 is not Valley High. I know 22 is.
22, 21...
It's 19 through 22.
Yeah.
Okay, so 19.
22.
Okay, maybe we can take those as a grouping.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Okay.
It's just a question about how.
That's fine, not a problem.
Not it's not an issue.
Anything else? Welcome, Terry. No?
Nope, John
Okay.
got mine, so.
All right, I'll entertain a motion then to approve items 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 23, and 24. John moves.
Second.
Brian seconds. We'll go to vote. Brian?
Yes.
John?
Yes?
Terry?
Yes.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay, motion carries. We're on the item 7.3. I'm going to move to table this because it was tabled at whatever that admin services, and the resolution is actually going to be changing, so that's why I'm not tabling it to date certain, because we're actually going to get a new resolution based on admin services discussion. So I'm going to make a motion to table item 7.3.
Point of order.
Yeah.
Could I please ask postpone to time indefinite, not table?
Postpone the resolution?
Yes, not table the resolution.
I don't care. Just need to get rid of it, so that's fine. However you want to do it.
You want it permanent?
I'm sorry, what?
You want to get rid of it permanently?
Yes.
Permanently. Okay, then tabling is fine.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed? Okay, motion carries. We're on the item 7.5. I'll entertain a motion. John and Larry. John, go ahead.
This was about rolling over the purchase orders from last year that are open. Carrie, I did speak to Carrie about this, and I just wanted her to kind of walk through that this has really no impact to the budget numbers that were passed in November.
So this resolution comes through every January, but I know that I'm always trying to help you guys understand how each of these pieces fit into the budget overall. So we have an original budget in D365 that is the amount that is approved in November, and that number never changes. And then we have a revised budget, and the revised budget is any change through a resolution, so increase, decrease, or departments, because of the budget policy, can move things between categories. So it's any changes that happen throughout the year. So 7.5 only impacts the revised budget column. And I get this question a lot, and I think it's unique to government, where people ask, like, why is actual versus budget so much lower for a particular fund? Usually these are fund specific. And this is the primary reason, and that is because when a department brings forward a resolution for a multi-year project, they will budget all of it in the year that it's requested and approved. And then they use a PO to roll it forward. And that most specifically relates to ARPA is how we're using it, and then the highway projects. So what the system does, and this way it keeps our budgets from being inflated year to year, is we set it in the original budget, we encumber it in that particular year, and then as it rolls forward, the system reduces the revised budget. So in this case, it will reduce fiscal 24, and then it'll roll it forward into fiscal 25. So it does make it a little more difficult to track actual versus budget for a particular year, but it's much easier to track one PO through the life of the project. And then that way we're not, just doing it year by year. And, essentially if we double up and then we just cancel the budget and then budget again next year. So does that make sense? I asked John if he would pull it so I could explain it, because that question does come up a lot about actual versus budget.
Me?
Sure, Larry.
I didn't know that you've done. So I get that, been here for a while. What I was curious about, and then I had called Adam yesterday, he never got back to me, so I don't know if he's out of town or whatever. Adam Wallen, because it's the Community Development Fund.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not denying that questioning that this number is correct or not, but what do we have going on that there's $17 million in that fund?
So that fund actually represents probably 6 different grants. And so they have multi-year grants. And probably about 5 years ago, we stopped doing the re-budget for them every year. So there's one part, if you look at budget history, you'll see like a slight reduction. And that's because we stopped saying, okay, we have 10 million that we're gonna spend in CDBG, we don't spend 10 million. So then next year we budget the 10 million again, because it's multi-year, the grants. So these just roll forward. So
I mean, we got like the seniors grant is all that part of that too?
Senior Services is not part of this. That's in its own fund.
Okay.
It's Fund 209 on your list if you want.
So we have that many projects that are open and moving forward, there's $17 million that?
So not projects, grant funds available to spend. And a lot of, like I said, a lot of them are multi-year.
Okay. So, I guess the CDBG, we get like $1.6 million or something each year that we're giving out, and
That's Senior Services.
no, because I'm on the CDBG commission. So Senior Services is their own thing that public health takes care of?
So I'll have to have Eric send you what specifically, the grants are more than 1.9.
Well, that's what we get every year, so I just wondered how we build up to enough projects or enough things moving forward that it would be 17 million. Don't deny the number, Carrie, just, I was just curious, what is there that we're holding funds on for projects that are getting, in the works.
Okay.
right?
I'll
So
get that information.
that'd be fine.
Okay, anything else?
No, I'm good.
Terry, go ahead.
Well, this was something that I brought up yesterday in admin, and that looking at the entire budget, you know, what, 279 million? Did I get that from SJ? And then that 64 million of it is from the levy, and that, does the board really understand where funding comes for different things? And then what, for example, we have a certain number of employees, how many of those are actually being paid for out of levy funds versus out of federal or state or grant funds? And having an understanding of that. And I don't know that we all do, and I just thought that it would be a good thing to know. And I was just brought it up yesterday. I mean, do you know?
Oh, yeah, sounds,
Right, okay.
sounds fine.
Okay.
I was just focused on this one particular thing because I was curious about
It's
it.
an example, you know, I mean, I understand how, you know, the year and pushing the funds forward in the budget and all that, but it was just like the overall period. It's like, you know, here we're doing this and do we really understand it? And another thing occurred to me, and so I'll just throw this out here now since it's money. Do we have access, I'm sure we do, I just don't know how to get it, of like the balance sheet for the county, like what the assets are that we hold, so that we have some idea of what the net worth is? I mean, we're doing things like,
So you want to see the fund balance. So the treasurer does send out a report.
not a
Every
fund
month.
balance, but like a literal like balance sheet, like assets, like properties that we own or capital. Do they
Well,
do that in
the
government?
CAFR has all that listed.
Yeah.
The CAFR
financial
is where
report.
all that's listed under asset retention or whatever it's called now. I don't know what it's called now, but yes, there is a section in the CAFR that has that.
Okay, so that's something that we have to find online? That,
It is online.
Or-
We can send you a link and let you know like
Okay.
the pages to look at because it's a
and in government, is it like it is for, you know, normal people where you actually have a balance sheet?
So the enterprise funds, so Valley High and ETSB function more like you would think a traditional, you know, income and expense.
Well, that's a P&L, but I mean like the assets, balance sheet.
Yeah, so, yes, I got a name, I can send you all the information.
Okay.
But it's more like the fund reserve and not.
Right, and I look at that more as, that's the operating capital, you know, that we're going through to process. I was just curious about the assets, you know, like the net worth of the county outside of the funds with their, because I know that we're making a decision to buy $1 million building, and I just made me go, I wonder what the value of the property that the county owns is, and you know, if you saw that, and where are people working, because we're looking at space planning. And so I thought just to start having the board absorbing this so that they have an understanding of it would be helpful. We probably know that.
That's why I just want to get us back onto the resolution. That's a discussion that we can have when Carrie's time comes up later on the agenda, but I don't want to stray off the resolution itself. So anything else on the resolution? Okay, if not, we'll go to vote then. John?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Carolyn? Larry?
Yes,
Brian?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay, motion carries. We're on to item 714. I'll entertain a motion. John makes a motion, Larry seconds. Go ahead, John.
Okay, so the $300,000, what is the reason for the cost overage?
Okay, so this project, and thank you for pulling this. This project started in front of this board in 2021, and the initial project costs were based on FQC, FGM, and some other contracts outside of those main contractors that the county already had contracts with. So like Alpha Controls already works with the county with facilities management, Insight with IT. So that's kind of the background on where we came up with the 9.3 project, was with those. However, going through the remodeling of the training facility and the building of the firing range, There were increases in some of the expenses outside of FGM and FQC. There were other unsuspected things, like the electric capacity at the firing range. In the design module, they underrated what we needed for capacity, so we had to increase our budget by $80,000. There's some landscaping issues, insight. There were issues where it increased. And we knew those increases were coming through under the 9.3 project total, but coming to the board for each of those increases didn't make sense because the project wasn't done yet, and we didn't know if maybe there'd be underage somewhere where it would even out. So as we were coming through October, November, working with the finance department, we knew that there was gonna be an overage. But the overage is, what we're asking for is the money to pay Frederick Quinn Corporation, but their contract isn't over. So, but we don't have the funds because in the resolution we put not to exceed 9.3 million. So we still need to pay Frederick Quinn Corporation, and his budget, their budget is not over, but throughout the project, there were overages, and we've now bumped up against our ceiling of the 9.3.
Will this cover everything?
Yes.
So this will be no more?
We've done, this will be no more.
Okay.
So that's what we didn't want to do. So like in
Sure. Yeah, no,
2023,
makes
it was like, do we go and increase it by 80,000? We weren't comfortable doing that. It was like, maybe we were a little hopeful that some of the other areas, and they did. Some came less, but,
Okay. Carrie, will this affect any other capital projects?
No.
No? Okay. That's all I have.
And I just want to make sure that to follow up on what John said, thank you for that, John. The final, right here where it says the 300,000 for the final project invoices, with budgeted funding in the fiscal year 25 budget under this account. So the money is sitting there, and the money that's sitting there in this fund that you're taking it out of, it's not going to pull from something else, because it says it's increasing. We're going over budget.
it's increasing the project, so this is built in the system as a project, but the funding out of the capital line, which is the county's capital line, isn't increasing.
So we're not taking money away from something else to cover this. It's money that's sitting there for operating purposes, and we're not going to come up in August and say, well, you overspent on that 300,000, and so we've got to raise the levy.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, if not, we're on 714. You want to vote on that or you don't? You can abstain if you want, but we're on 714.
714.
Is the 300,000 addition for the training facility.
No, that's fine. I want to vote.
Okay, that's fine. We start out, Terry,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
okay, Carolyn,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and John.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. All right, we are on to, so can we do 19 through 22?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
That's perfectly fine.
So-
719 wasn't actually an issue, so, but we'll call.
Okay, that's fine. So I'll entertain a motion then to approve items 7, 19, 20, 21, and 22. Carolyn? And Larry? Okay, go ahead, Carolyn.
Yeah, it's just, again, when these came through, I know that 19 was fine, there was a $45,000 amount for that position. The rest of them, I think now I need to pull them up again, don't actually provide money in the resolution. So I know there's a budget amount, you may not use it all.
That's exactly it.
Right, and you're trying to also say what funds it's gonna come out of. So I'm not sure how best, if everybody's comfortable with this, then leave as is, that's fine. I just, normally there's a number that tells us.
These are done the same way every year. And the reason why they're left open-ended is, like, let's just take the nursing agency one. That's one we hope to never use, but we have no idea what our utilization would look like. If we do use it, it offsets on the payroll side, because that means that we're using an agency pool versus our own staff. And so there's kind of a little bit of a balance with it, but we don't know what our staffing needs in August and September are gonna be when all the kids go back to school from college, right? this is part of that, trying to manage just your daily staffing number. Labs, it's the same thing. I have no idea what labs are gonna be needed for our short-term rehab people from month to month. So we have a budgeted amount not to exceed, which is what you guys approve as part of the annual budget process. But I have no ability to give you guys even a best guess, because year over year, month over month, it fluctuates so much based on who's in the building and who's not. So that's why those three are left kind of open-ended. We know there's a not to exceed amount, but we don't know what our actual utilization will be on a daily basis until it's experienced.
Okay.
Do you know?
Normally, we would put not to exceed in on other resolutions, not necessarily here. And I know it's a little bit different because if you're talking about not to exceed the project and you know you're going to use most of it, like we were just talking about with the firing range. But so I don't know what other people are comfortable
Would you like me to
with.
go in and make a reference to not to exceed the approved budget? If that makes you comfortable, we'll go in and take care of that before your committee of the whole.
Well, you can't go over budget anyways unless you come
Correct.
back to us, so I
Right.
mean, I don't.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, and I'm not sure if a number matters to anybody else because it's not a specific project and it's in.
I think that's a good idea.
Sometimes having it in the resolution, you kind of, okay, we know this is where we're going, this is how much it is.
What was it last year? For specifically the staffing agency is what I'm
I would
curious
have
about.
to go back and pull the numbers for you, but
Do you have like a ballpark or no?
no. I
No,
don't.
okay.
I mean, I could
Okay.
throw a guess out and I'd probably be wrong, so I'd rather not do that.
Okay.
But the way we look at it year over year is we look at the trending over multiple years plus what we have on staff at the current time. Right now, I'm not gonna say fully staffed, but we are very close to it. So our utilization on the nursing agency is very, very minimal compared to what it was last year. So it's hard to pin a number down.
And is the reason for the staffing, because I think there were 5 listed, right, for the staffing agency?
Yeah.
Is the reason you're just looking for, is the reason to work with all 5 just because none of those 5 by itself has like the capacity to meet your needs
Well,
on any given day?
Yeah, and it's actually twofold. You'll notice, other than the medical director one, which is pretty self-explanatory and kind of off on
Right.
its own, every Valley High resolution is multi-award. And the reason we do that is we have an internal person who does it's called shopping. And so we're looking at best price on every product at every given time, and that includes food and medical supplies. The other side of that with nursing agency is we have created a chart that it's kind of like the call pattern list, right? You know who your cheapest CNA, for example, for this shift on this particular date, this is what the agency you'd call. And so that gives us the flexibility of A, the availability of what the agency can provide, and B, best pricing for that particular shift on that. Like holidays are different, nights are different, weekends, each one has its own chart. So my team works from a call list. So you start with ask for volunteers if a shift opens up, then we have our in-house registry, and then we have the agency. So hopefully we don't dip into that much at all, but we do at times.
Okay.
I would,
Go ahead.
yeah, oh, no, you go ahead, because and then I'll just.
I was just gonna say the Valley High Committee reviewed this last week and was approved unanimously. So just forward that maybe.
That's fine, thank you.
Okay, so I guess from a comfort level in terms of when we get these things, because I really also appreciate when when it's put in the resolution as accounted for in this year's budget. Like, we know that it was approved and we're not approving something that's above and beyond. So that wording oftentimes is helpful for me as well. And I think a not to exceed such and such amount as approved in the 2025 budget. I think that kind of wording for me just makes it.
That's fine,
We
that
know
make
what
it
we're
clear
working
for
with.
more people, so.
And I know it's a little bit more work, but.
No,
that would-
it'd take me 10 minutes.
Okay.
And actually, it's probably gonna not be me to do it anyway, because I don't think I have access at this point, so it's an email. But I will take care of that.
Okay, perfect. Thank
Okay,
you.
anything else? Okay, we'll go to vote then. Eric?
Yes.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay, motion carries.
Thanks.
Yep. All right, we are on to number 10, discussion. Selection of McHenry County Board Member Representative to the Senior Services Grant Commission. So, Kathy, are you able to provide some perspective of this? Okay.
Is this something new? I'll ask, is it something new that we've?
Evidently not, but I don't remember, so that's,
I don't have the,
Chair Scala, I can maybe shed some light on this.
that would be good, if somebody could, like, what are the rules or procedures for the members?
sure, Pete, you got your hand up, I'm looking at you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. You may recall, I think it was 2 years ago, we made the decision to have an assigned person, one from PHCS, one from transportation, and one from finance to the Senior Service Grant Commission. And PHCS and transportation have already made their designations as to who's going to be their person. So that was the thought process, that you guys can pick someone today. You know, it's about 4 meetings a year to be going to senior services. One is an all-day meeting.
I assume that's when they
Closer
do
to-
the grants?
Right.
Closer
Make the
to
allocations.
Okay, okay. So you're telling me we did this 2 years ago?
I'm telling you yes. 2 years ago, there was somebody assigned from finance, to my knowledge, and they were part of this.
Who, do you know who that was?
Perhaps Kelly?
Was Teresa on,
Yeah, I think that was
Finance.
one of those two.
I think it was
It was
Teresa.
Teresa.
It was Teresa?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was Teresa. It's in the bylaws. So following the biannual county board member election cycle, the first meeting of the Finance and Audit Committee, Transportation and Public Health and Community Services. Post-election, the chair of each of these committees shall designate one county board committee representative for a total of 3 additional members, meaning that the total of 4 members for the county board shall serve as members in the Senior Services Grant Commission. So that's part of the membership. So the ones that expired for public health was Eric, DOT, staff representative expired. That was Scott Hennings, which it's now Andrew Duffin, I believe. TC representative was Matt. I don't have that on my notes. And then finance was Teresa.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so you're telling me I'm actually supposed to appoint somebody?
Well, it's in the consensus of the committee, and then it goes on the appointment resolution.
Okay, great. Well, I like the consensus of the committee versus me appointing. That's great. Okay, well, so members that, we're all here, so is anyone raising a hand?
I'll raise.
So Carolyn and Eric. Anyone else?
I'll raise my hand in that I'm not interested in doing that.
Thanks, Larry.
But I'd let you know.
No, that's fine. I figured I'd just let people, they raised their hand, so I didn't have to.
But I do have a question.
Yes.
I mean, and I should be more up on this, I guess, but I mean, are these voting members of that commission?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
I was on it last year, or the last 2 years for public health.
Public health.
And yeah,
Were you on, you were on public health over, Ian, weren't you?
I was on public health, yeah.
Well, I thought the senior grant commission was, everybody from public health was on it.
No, just one representative.
Okay.
And then I think the chair of public health also gets to pick who the chair of Senior Services Grant Commission is gonna be. So I think there might be technically 2, because Tracy picked Pam, I believe.
Is that what you got, Scott? I see you raising your hand.
It used to be the members of PHCS were also members of the Senior Service Grant Commission. When the county board changed the board roles a few years back, it said that was a lot to ask of the whole committee, so it pared it down to just representatives of the 3, transportation, because of all transportation related grants that go through it, PHCS because of that continuity, and finance and audit because of obviously the financial component.
Okay,
So that was a board role change.
that was a good change.
And additionally, the chair is actually chosen by Chairman Gilbert.
Gotcha.
That's part of his liaison list, is the chair.
So he hasn't done that yet.
I think technically all of them
That was
would
sent
pick the
out
Chairman
last month.
Bueller, right?
I think, is everyone,
We just make recommendations and then officially Bueller picks everybody, I believe.
Okay, so, yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I just say thank you, Carol, to be willing to step forward with this and support her.
Okay. All right.
so who has, so my understanding was Chairman Bueller appoints to that commission as any liaison from any committee.
That's what I thought, but I guess
Because we
that's not,
actually spoke with him earlier this week, so that's what was my understanding.
well, but I guess that's not true, so I don't,
Okay.
I guess
Or you make a recommendation and then he
So are we
decides.
making a recommendation to him, or are we officially, it's
a
out?
recommendation.
It's gonna go on the appointment resolution that you appoint every month.
Yeah.
It'll go on there, so it's part of
But
the.
if we were to choose, let's say Larry, and Mike says, I don't want Larry, can he change whatever we come up with?
I'm gonna confirm the board rules, but I think the board rules give that purview to the individual committees. So let me just pull up the board rules and I'll confirm it, but I think you select your own to sit on that committee. It's on appointment by the chairman.
Hey, I'm glad we're all learning today.
Oh, yes.
Actually, that's the way Kathy read it, is what Scott said there, so.
Yeah, that's what,
I have in here that the Senior Services Grant Commission shall consist of 14 members. The chairperson of the McHenry County Board shall appoint the chairperson of the Senior Services Grant Commission from the membership of the Public Health and Community Service Committee. Then it goes on for the other language I just read for each of the individuals.
okay, so then it's not his appointment then, it's truly finance's appointment
Yes.
for the one
He appointed
individual.
the chair.
Okay.
The
Hey,
board rules.
go ahead. Okay, so we have two individuals. Anyone else before we end this? I don't see anyone else raising their hand, so, okay. Do you want to just go around? How about we just go around and you state who you're interested in, unless you guys want to say anything like why you think you should be appointed versus not? I guess I wasn't anticipating this, so I hadn't thought this through, so I apologize to the committee for.
I was on Senior Services Grant Commission for the last 2 years through public health. Was kind of voluntold at the time, grew to enjoy it. I'd like to stay on. Learned a lot, especially that first year, second year as well. And it's good, I enjoy it. I'd like to stay on it.
Okay.
No, I had a conversation earlier in the week with Chairman Bueller because he reached out. So it was really something that I had thought about 2 years ago, but you know, we had appointed Teresa last time around. I did check. My schedule is very open on those days because I know it can sometimes be hard to get to.
I'm sorry, but I've lost my audio here for some reason.
Oh, can you hear us?
We'll have Dan look at it if you can, well, you can't hear us. I don't know how to sign language, so.
Can you hear us? I think he probably needs
I can
to
hear you.
reconnect.
Do you have subtitles?
He can hear us, so we are putting out sound.
You can put on subtitles, yeah.
You might just need to rejoin.
Can you hear
Testing,
us?
testing.
Can you hear us now, Mr. Seibert? I think it's on his end if Pete can hear us.
He can hear us.
I can hear you in California.
Sound waves travel far. All right, well, okay, so Carolyn, did you want to say anything, or you?
No, I mean, I would enjoy doing it. I had thought about it last time. I do have the time to put into it. And that's an area that I've been more involved in, like environmental and the last couple of years being more involved with the mental health board and the agencies and the different services that we provide. So I thought it would be an opportunity to get me into this area as well, so.
Okay. Brian, can you hear us yet?
I can hear you now, but it's very, very faint. I don't know if it can be turned up or not. I've got mine at maximum capacity.
Okay, so I'll let you start. You just need to say whether you would like Carolyn or Eric to serve on the commission. I think you had said Carolyn earlier, but I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, Carolyn's great. Thanks.
Okay, all right,
And I appreciate both of them being willing.
okay. John?
Carolyn?
Terry?
Eric?
Okay, Eric?
Wait.
Okay, Carolyn?
Okay, I'll go for me.
Okay, Larry?
I'm gonna leave it to you, Mike. If it's even, I'm comfortable with either one of them. I guess I'll lean towards Eric because of the experience. I was on the Senior Services Commission thing, and it does take a little time to get to understand who you're talking to and what they're doing with the money.
So
I said Eric.
Okay. So you guys are leaving it in my lap?
I said,
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's fine.
What if I abstain?
No, I should have done that and that took the pressure off. Right?
I'm fine with either way also. I just don't,
That's fine. Yeah, me too,
Can I just ask the two individuals, is there one of you that would graciously step back, or is it absolute that both of you want to serve without question?
I think
we both do, yeah.
I think we both do, but I mean, Eric, you have been on. I mean, I don't know. I thought I didn't know if it came out of here, or if it was more of the chairman's selection, so, for this, but apparently it's out of there, so I don't want to.
Maybe you should confer with Chairman Bueller.
well, how am I gonna do that now?
Not right now. There's other things that gets pushed down the road. Week don't matter.
Well, yeah, but
No, just a thought.
do we have to have this done today?
I mean, the bylaws say the first meeting. I'm not posting until tomorrow.
The rules say it though.
The rules are not specific as to when you have to select. Just as members of the.
Can I ask if we could just take a very short recess, and Mike, you and Eric and Carolyn go outside and just see if you can come up with something?
Just vote Mike.
So, okay. Well, so the reason I'm hesitating is because I was asked if I would serve in this capacity, Mike Bueller, yesterday. And so I looked and checked, made sure my schedule would accommodate it, and I said, yes, I would. So to that extent, because I had agreed, I'm a little reluctant to say, okay, after I've already said that I would. But if that's not the way the process works,
well,
then I'm fine, then I don't want to be holding things up here either.
did you talk to Mike?
Just you, since it was
Okay,
coming out of committee.
okay. All
So
right.
that's the reason I'm a little hesitant to back off, because I was asked specifically to do it.
Okay,
And
that's,
so otherwise I would.
all right. Then I'm gonna go with Carolyn based on that information. And I will call Mike and talk to him,
Confer
but,
with him, and I'm fine with whatever is decided,
okay.
either way.
All right, so, we'll choose Carolyn then, I guess, for that position. All right, reports. Chief Financial Officer.
I'm sorry, but Dan, is there some way that you can turn the volume up?
I don't think the volume's the problem. You can turn subtitles on, I believe. Well, I think he needs to do it. I think that'll show it for us. If you go to the more settings at the top, you can turn live captions on. That may help. We did it on our side, but I don't know if that's gonna come through for you.
All right, I'll try to mess around with it more, but thank you.
I don't think there's a way to turn the volume up.
All right, Carrie?
Well, first, to answer the question about Valley High, last year they spent $290,000 on the staffing.
On the staffing.
Yeah,
What, on outside staffing?
yes,
Okay, all right.
all three disciplines,
Oh, that's all?
Yeah.
Totally.
yes.
Go ahead.
So Baker Tilly was here doing the preliminary audit right before Christmas, and it went very well. Mike is our new accountant and he's really settling in, and then Dodie is doing a great job. And I feel like this year we're finally like bringing everything together. We're more comfortable with the process. We know what to expect. The treasurer has done a lot of work getting the bank statements reconciled, so they will be here for the final audit on March 10th. So I'm actually looking forward to it. I think we're in a really good place.
Is the anticipation that we will write everything this year?
Yes,
So they won't,
that is our goal, is to have no findings. And that was the primary finding, was that they prepared
correct.
the government-wide section of the financial report.
Are we able to copy and paste?
You know, we're working with a new software company to develop the financial report, and it's a lot more user-friendly, and it also builds in a lot of the, you know, sometimes it's the same number in multiple different spots, and you know, when you're doing things manually, sometimes it's like, well, this number should equal this, but it doesn't. So we have a lot of that already built in. And then I know Dodie has been working on replicating the cash worksheets and the conversion entries from last year, so she gets a better understanding of how we can do that on our own. That was really the last piece they were working on for us, so.
Okay.
And May 31st is our deadline, and we actually already have, John is already scheduled to come to the June Finance Committee. So.
Sweet.
I know.
That would be the first since I've been here.
Yeah, so it's really exciting that, you know, it's hard because we put things in place and it takes sometimes a couple years to see them through, but I think we're doing very well. So.
And are there any new GASB rules that we got to deal with this year?
There is, oh shoot, I think there's one on lease.
I remember John had said something about, you know, whatever was coming down the pike, but I don't
Yeah,
remember.
the one that we have to do next year is there's gonna be a change in the compensated absence, so that's next year. I can't remember if lease was last year or they're implementing it this year. I think it might have been subscriptions last year and lease this year, but those I think are, once we get all the information in, it's not even material, so we don't have to implement it, so. Next, Carrie Johnson is in the process right now of doing the quarterly reporting for ARPA. So that's going very well. She's gonna have the updated worksheet for you guys next month.
Okay, that's good.
And then we have a request from one of the recipients, the Northern Illinois Food Pantry. They wanted to come in and speak to the board on what they've been able to do with the money, you know, their gratitude on receiving the money. And I wasn't sure, I said, well, yeah, I guess they could always do public comment, but I didn't know if you guys want to just talk to them in this committee, if I should have them go to the committee of the whole and do public comment. Do you have a preference? I didn't.
I think I would leave that in Mike's lap if he would like them to come and speak to the whole board. I mean, the whole board ultimately made the approval, right? If he would like to allow them some time to do that, I'm completely fine with that.
Okay.
If he would rather not, then I'm fine with them coming here.
They can come here.
Yeah.
I think it's nice to see, you know, we see updates, you know, and how much they're spending, but to really hear about how it's impacting the community, I think is.
I agree.
So.
Okay. Anything else?
That is all I have. We're almost done with ClearGov for the 2025 budget, the document, the GFOA document that usually took us into February.
Okay, great.
So I will send you a link when that is all finished online. And really it's, as a contrast to the financial report that's very technical, this budget document is made for the average reader that doesn't know a lot about government, so that's why I always like to push it. You know, it breaks things out very well, like what Terry was talking about earlier with the who's being paid out of what fund and where money comes from. You know, it really helps to break that down. So maybe next month when we're all done, I can just do a little demo.
That's fine. Show and tell, I like that.
Yeah, so you have two things to look forward to for next month.
Do you have anything else?
I do not, unless you have
Members have any
questions.
questions? No? I just wanted to, Carrie and I had a meeting before Christmas about some thoughts that I had regarding not only resolutions, but how we can better set ourselves up for budget. So we have a meeting that we're gonna be having with Pete to kind of go over all that. So my hope is next month, hopefully, we can share all those ideas with you guys and see if there is concurrence that we should move forward with those changes. And I feel like they're gonna be positive changes that will hopefully allow board members an opportunity to better understand resolutions and the impact those resolutions are having not only on current year budget, but future year budgets. And hopefully also kind of easily allow someone to understand where the money's coming from. Kind of like what Terry had talked about a little bit earlier, you know, like not only where it's coming from, but where it's going and how it's being used. So, anyway, I'm kind of excited about that. We'll see how it ends up working out, but, okay.
I do have a question for Carrie. Are you done with what?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, regarding ARPA, just giving some feedback in terms of some of the agencies, because it's a reimbursement, right? Do we have a mechanism in place, and I think we kind of talked about this maybe last year, that would allow them to, because if they don't have the money to pay for it to get reimbursed, is there a mechanism to help bridge that?
So the requirement that it be a reimbursement is based on county board direction. It's not a requirement within ARPA.
Okay.
So I think the reason we set it up as
That wasn't me.
the reason we set it up that way is because we don't consider them sub-recipients, like when we do our single audit reporting. So we are ultimately, the county is responsible for how that money is spent. So making it reimbursement, we can make sure that they're following the agreement and the budget within the US Treasury before we give them the reimbursement.
But if they have like the bill for the services that is covered by what they came in here with for the money,
Okay.
getting the money, is there a way? And I'm not actually, this is more generally, so I don't have the specifics, but I mean, what I'm understanding, without having gone into a lot of detail, is if you're paying for a service, and that service would be covered by those ARPA dollars, is there a way to kind of get that paid or have it be simultaneously so that what if they're paying out, they're getting something in immediately to cover that payment?
Well,
Because the problem is not having the money upfront in the first place to make.
but if okay, so I think there's a difference between an agency, and I'm just gonna use personnel for.
Yeah, like if it's a fee for service, if somebody's providing the service.
So typically whoever's providing that service will bill the agency, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the agency should have some amount of time, 15 days, 30 days, whatever, to actually pay for that service at that point.
Mm-hmm.
They can submit that bill as soon as they get it, and we're paying within 2 or 3 weeks, and assuming that the bill is correct and there's approval. So there shouldn't really be a cash flow issue for the agency, unless they sit on it. I mean, if they sit on it, then that's a problem, but that's not ours.
And that's been inconsistent, I think, depending on the agency. Because a lot of them are monthly, and they work closely with Carrie. Like if they need a quick turnaround and they have all their documents, then that's easy. But some submit like only once a year. So
That could be part of the problem.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
But if there's a specific agency
Yeah,
and they
nothing.
wanna talk with Carrie about what they need to maybe help on their side to make it more timely, just let us know.
Anything else? Okay, contingency, Economic Development Corporation. I've been working with Mark, and Mark's been, we've all been working together on the board to look at 2025 as an opportunity with putting a strategic plan in place, and then also looking at the value-added proposition for both the municipalities and the member businesses. So it's never been really clearly defined in regard to when it comes to the municipalities. If you're a member, what benefits do you get for services? And if you're not a member, what does that yield you? And so it's been, for me, it's been frustrating because it's very inconsistent. We have some municipalities that utilize a lot of the MCEDC services and pay X fee, and another city, for 2 seconds, let's say, assuming they have the same population, hardly use any services and still pay that same exact fee. So it shouldn't be a pay-to-use type situation, but it also needs to be fair for those that are utilizing the time and energy of the staff. And the resources that we have, i.e. the software that we're paying for and everything. So we're looking at that, and then as far as the actual business members, again, besides the feel good of I'm supporting greater economic development in McHenry County, what can those businesses get, and do they even know what they can get in the sense of utilization of the software and some studies, and especially now that we're part of R1 and greater Chicagoland, those have even more resources that businesses could utilize. So trying to put all that into paper so that when Mark does go out to municipalities or businesses, there's something that they can physically, tangibly say, hey, for this amount of dollars, I get this back in return. So that's one of the big things that we're working on. And then overall, a strategic plan for the organization, because we haven't had one for 8 years or 9 years or something like that. So go ahead.
Are the municipalities members? Are they paying a fee to be in it?
Not all of them, but some of them, yes. And that's part of the issue. And go ahead, Brian.
I think from a municipal perspective, there is an opportunity there for all municipalities, just like there is for businesses to become members. And I think those individual municipalities that do become members, then they now have a choice what program in which they might wish to participate. And so I think it's all a matter of choice in that regard. I think if some communities are members and yet they're not using the services to the extent that perhaps they can, then that's an individual choice on their part. And I think that they believe and understand that, as goes the counties, so goes the municipalities in terms of development and growth. And so I'm not sure it's quite as big a concern. I think the bigger approach is let's get as many members as we possibly can. So to me, it's more of a membership drive thing than it is equitability, if you will, in terms of the level of participation or interest in service.
That's fair. Okay. So that's all I had on. Pete, did you have anything? Do you have your hand raised again?
At the committee of the whole next Thursday, Mark Picos is going to kind of launch his strong transitions program. So he's going to do 5 or 10 minutes on that, and that's his program that's going to be utilizing our Advanced McHenry County dollars. So Mark's going to kind of talk about that in front of the board.
And he's going to have I can't remember the new gentleman at MCC.
Thank you. Yeah.
John?
Him, the Small Business Association guy.
Yeah, what's his name?
Small Business Development Center. I don't recall his name, but yes, him. He's going to be there too.
Okay. That guy. All right, Natural McHenry County.
Yes, good morning. We've talked a lot about strategic planning for MCEC, and naturally McHenry County is going to be moving forward with their strategic plan. We're going to engage Marcy Picos and Francis Glosson. I don't know if you know Marcy. They're going to be facilitating the strategic plan process, and we're going to have a workshop on January 27th. So naturally McHenry County is looking forward to that. That's going to be exciting. The 2025 Insider Guide, which is the book of activities, was delivered yesterday. So you're going to start seeing hard copies available. You'll get one in your box once we get those here. So that's very exciting. We're always proud of that publication. I think it's fantastic. And as you, on the committee previously, you heard that National McHenry County office is moving from Huntley to Woodstock to the old courthouse. That's going to happen in March with the opening in April. So we're excited about that.
Did they give you a good lease deal?
It was a good lease deal. Yeah.
Okay. As good as Huntley's?
You know what? We have great partners within our community.
Oh, boy, there we go.
If it was a good deal, I would have to talk to them and have them reconsider it.
All right. We have an executive session that we need to have, so I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for 5 ILC 120-229 meetings between internal and external auditors and review of executive session minutes. Sorry, Eric, Terry, roll call, Brian?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay, motion carries.
Brian, was the sound any better for you? I increased it a little bit.
I
don't think Brian can.
Yeah, but Brian can't be in executive
I just
session.
wanted to
so-
make sure
You gotta
that,
leave, Brian.
I just wanted to make sure you could hear better before, but.
I can hear you. Okay, so I'm going to leave the meeting at this point.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, Brian.
Call.
It's like I can increase it a little, but.
I think it's Wi-Fi.
Recording, so I don't want to like blow the sound out of the recording. Thank you.
We going in order?
And I'll do the minutes first. Are we all? Carries. We have all members of the committee except for Brian back here present. I'll entertain a motion to send the executive session minutes to the state's attorney for review. Terry and John, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. And then a motion to adjourn at 10:12. Terry and John, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.